Hello Doraemon, so welcome back. So for this video, it's going to be different, not an as usual solution video. It is going to be a bit different, and in this video I'm going to show you one single code you have to write to solve any question in asked in IRA. So it's going to be very interesting, and let's get started. So for example, I took the same question which is asked on 28th of March, and it's a very easy question. If you have solved it in the IRA, just please comment it down done, or if not, it's okay. We have 3 more attempts for every IRA, or even some get 5 to 6 attempts. People who get 5 to 6 attempts, please comment down and let us know how you're getting 5 to 6 attempts. Let's get started. So this question is very simple. So I'll be explaining you how to input every single item and how to access every single thing, so in this video. And the solution for this question is very simple. They're going to provide you a list of items with their ID, name, price, and the quantity, and you have to just print the item which has the highest price, which is I've given over here. And then you also have to print the items which has the quantity as 20 or greater than 20. Simple, right? It's a very easy question. If you have people solved it, please comment it down. I'm going to show you how you can input every single value and how to access every single item in a list or a dictionary in this, and how to pass it to a class and how to handle it. And let's get started. So I'm just going to erase this entire code right over here, and first I'm going to just show you the input. So let's first understand the input. So the main part of solving the question is understanding the input. So first you're going to get a number, which this is called as the ID, and in this we'll be getting a name, and then this is the price, and last one is the quantity. So this is the pattern. So we'll get 4 values: ID, name, price, and quantity, and it is going to repeat like 102 eraser 2030 and 103 pencil, 110, 104 gum. Same process is going to happen, and in the end like that we are going to get 5 set of inputs over here because they have not given the yan value, so we have to consider 5 inputs. And here in the end they are given like a value which you have to use to find uh, the price, the items which has the quantity greater than this value. That's it. So this video is going to be a tutorial, like a tutorial. So I think you hope you understand it. How we are going to get this inputs is we have to just make this entire 4 items to be get stored in a single storage place. So that is what going to happen. So first off, we are going to split it. So let me explain you what I'm going to do. So first I'm going to get all the 4 values, and then I'm going to store all these 4 values into a single storage place, and I'll be accessing it through my own variable which I declare in my single storage place. So that's what I'm going to do first. So how to do that is, first I'm going to create my own class object to store these 4 items in a single storage place, so which is going to be class object in the class. And always a class has a init function, and init function is like a constructor. When you call the class, it will automatically get executed. You don't need to call that init function externally. It automatically gets executed like your constructor and destructor. So it's like a constructor. Let's write the constructor def of init, and you have to put 2 underscores, and then you have to give like self, because this is a keyword which you will be giving names to each one of your ID, name, price, and quantity. So as I told, I will be accessing it through the names that I give. So to give names, we'll be using this keyword which is self. And here you have to declare like how many values you're going to store in a single storage place. So I'm going to do like the ID and name, and also price, and also quantity. So I'm just going to write only the first letter so it is easy to program. I'm not a big fan of big variables and it all consumes a lot of time. So here I'm going to name them. Just self.id is this ID which I given over here, and I'm going to just do it. Hereafter, wherever I call this, I'll be calling it like self.p or self.p or self.yani. Hereafter, anywhere in the program, if I call this ID, I'll be calling it using self. This self can be anything, like I'll be telling you when I write the code. So as of now, I'm just going to put self of yan is equal to yan. Again, self dot price is going to be, I'm just going to give p, and oops, again self dot quantity, which is going to be q. And that's it. So this is my class object. So this one I'll be using to like call my variables, and this is used to store everything in a single storage place. So now let's move on to the main function. And like here I'm going to give, here when you use class or object oriented programming, you'll not directly write print or something like that. When you usually write in Python, you can just directly write a is equal to b, and like that. In like as like in Java or C, you don't have any predefined structure like a main function or not. But when you're using like object oriented programming, when you're doing like defining different classes, and if you want first thing to be executed as a main class, then in that case you have to like write if name is equal to main. So at that time you need to write this main function. So this represents the main function, and under this part whatever you write is going to get executed first, as like how you are going to get your input. So for this place I have to declare a list. Usually how you will get a list of values, you'll be using a list and you will get the values using the for, and then you will append it to the list, correct? So we are going to do the same thing. So here, instead of like only adding one value to a single storage place, here we are going to add 4 values to a single storage place. So let's do it. I'm just going to declare a list called as flist, and I'm going to just iterate again a for loop for I in a range of 5. As I already told, here we have 5. If they have given the n, you can directly take n. If not, you can directly consider like how many set of values given. That set of values is going to be given for all test cases, so you don't need to confuse on that thing. And let's get the value. So first you are going to get the ID, name, price, and quantity. So I'm just going to put ID, and it is of type integer, int of input, and then I'm going to get the name. So this is going to be just input, and next I'm going to get the price. So price is equal to int of input. After that is done, we're going to get the quantity, and go to end. It is also of type integer. Now usually if you get one value, what you will do, you will put like flist dot append, and then you will just add that value, right? And since here it is 4 value, you cannot add like flist append of ID, name, price, and quantity, because you have 5 set of values like that. So if you add it, you will get confused. Maybe if you are so much well versed, if you know like every single action what you're going to do, then you can try it, but it is again an horrible process to follow up, so we don't want to get into that process. What I'm going to do instead is I'm going to call my class object, and I'm going to store these 4 values into one storage place. So now I know I'll be having 5 storage place, and each of the storage place I'll be having 4 values, which is ID, name, price, and quantity. That's it. So just call the class name object, and inside this you're going to pass all the thing: ID, name, price, and lastly quantity. That's it. So now just I'm going to declare one more function. Okay, I'm going to just declare one more class, and let's call it as example. Now I'm going to show you how you can access these things. So here every class has a constructor, and thus that constructor is the init function. So here I'm again going to put def init, and don't forget the self. So here we got the values, and always have the practice of passing it to another class. So if you pass it to another class, it will be easy because you will be having this pre-written list in this place. Okay, so now let's not forget that value 120. So I'm just going to put it as v and int of input, and outside, like over here, I'm going to declare an object, and I'm going to call this example class, because inside this I'm going to declare one function. As you know, if you want to call any function inside a class, you should create an object and call it. So that's the purpose of creating an object, and while you call that itself, you can pass this f list. So I'm just going to pass f list and also the value which I got extra. That's it. Now I'm going to declare, like here I have passed one list and also a value. So I'm going to declare the same over here, which is going to be elist and a value which is going to be va. And inside this again you're going to declare names to call them inside your class, as like how I did it over here. If I declare any function over here and if I call them, I can call it like self.id and change like that. Like as of here, as I passed it to another function, again I have to give it a name. So I'm just going self dot same name elist is going to be elist, and here self dot va is going to be va. Like if it is going to be a single value, you can even pass it to the function, but to show you I'm just passing it over here, and I'm going to declare a function. So inside the class example, I'm going to declare a function called f1. So let's take it as f1, and every function inside a class should have self. Okay, it's like a keyword. Now I'm just going to iterate through the list. So for how you will get the values, and you will like iterate it just the way same what we are doing to do. For I in here I'll be calling it as self.elist. So here I'll not call it as flist, I'll be calling it as self.elist. That's it. So after this, what I'm going to do, now we have got our input. This input part is done, and then we have created one more class, and then we have passed this input what we got to this class. So now everything is going to happen in this example class. So for I in self list, now I'm just going to print and show you what I will hold, because I will be like, as you know, I will be like an object. As you know, I have 5 places. Like I have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 4 and 5. I have exactly 5 values, and each of them is having 4 values. So what happens here? Here it has 4 values, and this 2 will also have 4 values. Like that, each of the places have 4 values, correct? So this I is this 1 2 3 4. If you print I, you will not get anything. So let me show you what will happen if you print it. Let me comment this part of the code because you will get an error if we do not. Okay, now I'm just going to run and show you. Your program did not output anything. Okay, so we didn't call this function as I told, that's why we created the object. Now I'm going to call the function and let's see. See, it is showing like it is an object at the place. So this, what this I represent is this 1 2 3 4 5. So it will each has 4 value. It exactly don't know which of these 4 values to display. So now if I give here is the I is 1 2 3 4 5 and 1 has 4 values, so it will not display anything. It is showing like just object. Now how to call these 4 values? So that's the question. So to call those values, you have already declared all the names inside this init function of class object. So now if I put I.id, you can see, now I'm just going to run it. Now I have just only the numbers, correct? Only the ID numbers. Now if I print like I.n, which is name, now I'm going to run it. It will also show you the name. And again, I'm just going to print I.price and I.quantity, which is Q. And now let's see it. You can see it is given in an unordered format. Now we have changed it into an well-versed format. So now this 101, 102 is going to be ID, and we have names, we have the price, and also we have the quantity. So now we have the access to every single value easily. Now we can do anything we want and process whatever is asked in the question. So what is asked in the question is, first off, they've asked me to find the item which has the highest price. So here, as we have 100, 100 and 100, which is going to be pencil, and we have to find only the first one which has the highest value. Let's do it. So we have to find a max value, correct? So to store the max value, I'm going to declare a variable, and inside this, so for I, if I dot, which is holding the price, is I dot p. So if I dot p is greater than max, then I'm going to assign this max with I dot p. That's it. And now let's see what is stored in M. Print of M. It is 100. So now we have to just iterate again to the list and find which has the price of 100. Now let's do it. Or what else you can do is, here in also with storing the max price, you can also store like the ID also. So if you want to just print the ID and the price, you can just like declare one more variable and store the ID over here. What we can do over here is k is equal to 0, and in this place you can just put k is equal to I dot ID. So now this k will have the ID. Now just print k comma yum. Now you can see it has 101 and 100. So whenever this f, the max, is greater than p, then it will change the k and p. That's it. So now we have the ID and the price. Now we are going to move on to the next one. We have to find the amount, like find the items which has the quantity greater than the given quantity. So let's do that. Here I'm going to declare like one more function, so def of f2, and here I'm going to just give as self. And here again we are going to iterate through the list. So for I in self dot elist, if the quantity is stored in q, so here the object is I, so I dot q is greater than or equal to self dot va. As we have given the name as self.va, here also we'll be addressing it as self.va, and here we are just going to print the IDs, so I.id. Now I'm going to just run it. And one more thing, you didn't call it yet, so let's call it object.fun2, and now running it, it is showing 102 and 105. Yeah, so if you want to like get the entire value like the ID, name and everything, you can just store this price value and you can equate it, or you can just store the ID value and again iterate through the list and find the ID. Again you have to just, I'll show you how to do it. So again you have to iterate through the list for I in self dot elist, and here if I'm just going to go with ID, k is equal to I dot ID, then just print I dot ID and I dot name and I dot price and I dot quantity. I think quantity is not required. Let's run and see it. Yes, so we have almost got everything. So this is how you can easily like print or solve any question asked over here in the IRA. So this is a very simple code or format which is needs to be followed. So if you get any dictionary in this place, you have to do the same thing. After getting the list of values here in this place, they'll be giving you how many set of dictionary values they are going to pass. So what you're going to do is here for jn, you have to declare a dictionary over here, like I'm giving like kdic, and for jn range, they'll be passing some value, like you can give like 4, and just for sample I'm giving 4, and here you can just get the key value pairs. So here I'm just going to give as key is equal to int of input and value val is going to be also int of input. But here you don't want to call the object class, because here there are only going to be 2 values. How you actually do is the same process. You can do like kdic of key is going to be the value, and that's it. So if you want to pass it to the list, here in this place when you call the example function itself, you can pass it like kdic, and here in this place you have to again give it a name. So I'm just going to give it dic, and here self.dic is going to be dic. You can again like use the same name. It's not going to give you any error or something. And let's provide some values over here after giving all the values. So I'm just going to give 101 is going to be 5,000, and 102 is going to be 6,000, and 103 is going to be 2,500 or something, and 104 is going to be 5, 6, 7, 8, 11, 6, something. And now let's run it. And if in this place I'm just going to, in any of the function, in this last function I'm going to show you the kdic values. So for j in self.kdic, so if you're using it in the main function, you can directly use gadic, but as we are using it inside another class, make sure you use the name which is given over in this place. So it is self.dic, and you can just print and say j. It will print only the key values as I've given 102, 103, 104. If you want to like print the values which is stored, you can give like self dot dic of j, and that's it. Yeah, it's a spelling mistake, and that's it. So this is how you can handle the dictionary and a list. So most probably you will be mostly getting this dictionary and the list. This is the, if they want to give you a tough value or something, then they'll be giving you this dictionary thing, or if it is going to be simple, they'll be only giving you the list. So I've given you shown you two ways of getting inputs and how to process the output. So if you just handle with these and practice this code, you'll be able to crack the IRA easily. So this is a major pattern you need to know and you need to understand to solve any question in IRA. And that's it for this video. I hope this is useful because I showed you with everything with a live example, and this is almost the solution for the 28th March Python. So it is not the exact solution, I just showed you how you can do it, and you have to do it actually. So yeah, and that's it for this video guys. I hope you guys liked it, and if you do, make sure you subscribe and like this video, and I'll be also posting a new video on the variables very soon. So yeah, until then, this is your very own code Doraemon signing off. Keep learning, keep rocking. Peace out, cheers, bye.